Happy Peeps, Suzanna here today to share with you my challenge for Clique Kits for International Scrapbook Day, and my challenge is to scraplift yourself. So on the left is the layout that I chose, and on the right, this layout here is the layout that I scraplifted of myself. I will link you to the video of that layout that was created using a different kit, and this time I am using the Scrapbook Day kit put together by Clique Kits, and a good chunk of the kit is made up of jelly bean soup, bohemian stew, bohemian something from jelly bean soup is the collection. And so I am working with that layout beside me. It's actually propped up on the tripod stand in front of me, and I am referencing that. So I had two 4x3 pictures of my son, and this time I went with two 4x3 pictures of my daughter, and it just so happens that this is the first day of school back in September. And just as I had a footer with multiple strips down the bottom, I'm going to have a footer with multiple strips down the bottom. And I am going to try and put layers around the photos just as I had on the picture with my son. So here I'm working on another one of the strips down the bottom, and initially I will choose this very bold stripe, and I tried to incorporate the colors that are in those flowers in the pattern paper that I'm going to put behind the photos, but it's too bold and it draws too much of your attention down to the footer of the page, and so I want to back off a little bit on the colors, and I go with this strip instead, and you can see how that complements the photo and the flower paper rather than overpowering it. And then I thought I'd put that orange in, but the pictures have a lot of blue, and you can see that really bright red in there, and so I decided to put that orange aside. I cut out some of the video there because I was testing all sorts of mixed media, and this is where I end up settling on using some shimmers and embossing paste and just mixing the shimmers into the embossing paste and coming up with a cool texture to put on. I had used mixed media. I'd actually used something from Nouveau, some embellishment mousse on my other layout, and on this one I created my own embellishment mousse by using the products that I just mentioned. This is a stencil from Kaiser Craft, and I love the way that the green that I created pops the greens in the flowers of that pattern paper. Now you're not going to see a lot of that pattern paper, but there's definitely green in it, and I just like the way that it sort of ties the whole layout together. This is some Nouveau mica mist, and just for an added pop of that green, I just splattered some of that on top of the embellishment, the texture paste. So there's that strip, and I'm going to cut that down. On my other layout, I had layered strips, and so I'm going to do that same thing here. The texture paste, this is texture paste from Faber-Castell, and it dries pretty quickly. And I'm not one who's very patient, so I do work around those wet things there. So I'm going to stagger the pictures just as I did with the pictures of my son, but because of the format of these pictures, I'm going to change the staggering, the height of the pictures, of the order of the staggering just a little bit. And I am going to commit to that piece of paper there, just as I had done on the other side, and it does cover up some of that texture paste, but it leaves just enough to give you a hint of that. These doilies come in the kit, and I didn't have a doily behind the picture of my son, but it's okay when you're scraplifting yourself. I still have the bulk of the elements. I just added a few things and shifted a few things around. So originally in my layout of my son, I had the tag coming out of the left-hand side of that photo block there. I am going to try that, and it covers up too much of the texture paste, and so I will end up moving that, but I will put another element in there that is more complementary to that. So with the International Scrapbook Day kit from Clique Kits, there's these die cuts, and in my layout with my son, I had stars. I am going to use these doily looking things that are in the kit, instead, as well as a few of the puffy stickers. I had a tag, one of those little fold-over tabs behind the photo cluster of my son, and I was able to find one that worked behind the photos of my daughter. And what's different about this layout is on this footer strip, I am going to put a little bit more than what I had for him, and that's okay. It's my designer's license, I like to call it. So there you can see I put one of the doilies instead of the tag. And again, just so I had enamel dots, and now I'm going to use puffy stickers on this particular layout, but I'm still sticking with the true essence of the layout of my son. Just shuffling through. I was looking for that red. I knew I had it somewhere, but I must have had it over on my big trimmer that's behind me. And I'm going to just cut out a little bit of that red because the red complements the red that's in her pants, and I want to tie that photo block up the top down to the bottom here, and I feel that just unites it all. So I'm going to fussy cut, well, not fussy cut, but I'm going to cut that down, and it's not in a straight line, just to add, again, a little bit more texture to the layout. And this, you'll see, is where I add the tag down to the bottom. And this kit comes with a lot of ribbon and different twines, which is really cool. So I used the pinky red that coordinates with that red stripe down there, and I'm going to stick that over some of the embellishment paste, but that's okay. I also am going to, in a minute, get a pen. The white is very stark, and so to sort of soften that a little bit, I'm just going to get a pen and draw an outline around that. So I've stuck down the elements that I'm committing to. On my layout of my son using the Echo Park, I have a fair number of paper layers behind that photo cluster. It was hard to do with these papers because I wanted the papers to not overshadow that floral that I had there. So I'm going to add this red behind that left picture, which sort of makes the picture, because she's smaller in the picture, almost match the picture on the right hand side. You can see how it just sort of pops that picture a little more. And then instead of a paper layer, I have the doily there. There we go. So that ends up being the photo cluster, really. A lot of the elements I don't adhere down until I have committed to them. So I'm just sticking these things down if they don't already have a sticker backing behind them. And you can see how I've got that layout to the left now that I'm scrap lifting of myself, and you can see how one complements the other. I apologize for the pictures in the beginning. That cream cardstock is very hard to get pictures of. There is a white balance thing in Photoshop, but there really isn't a cream balance thing. This is that outline that I told you that I was going to do to just make the white less stark on the cream background. I don't mind white and cream together, but it has to be balanced, and as there's white in the picture, the balance works out perfectly. So now I'm going to work on my title work here. I'm going to use the hello from the sticker sheet, and then I will use the letter stickers from Jilly Bean to put middle school. And I actually get smart on this particular layout, and I pull out my ruler, line everything up on the ruler, and then stick everything down. Those of you who know me know that I often take a shortcut when it comes to my title work and end up doing a letter shuffle. But there is no letter shuffle on this particular layout. Yay! So there's the ruler. And the title of this layout becomes Hello Middle School, because she's starting 6th grade, which for us here in Virginia, or where I live in Virginia, is 6th grade is the beginning of middle school. And I do put the title in the same place that I have the title of my son's layout. So in many ways, I've done very similar things for both layouts, but I love that they're both very different looks. I continue the mixed media. The titles are in the same place, same photos, same photo clusters, the footer, and Also, the lack of journaling. The only thing that's different is that I have the tag and a few little other embellishments down the bottom of the page. So that is my Clique Kits challenge for you for International Scrapbook Day, to scrap lift yourself. Show us the layout that you liked. Show us the layout that you created where you scrap lift yourself. And be sure to post those projects over on the Clique Kits event page, I believe is where we are posting those things. Thanks for joining me today. If you are new to my channel, I would love for you to subscribe. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave them down in the box below. There are a few close-ups. Enjoy the close-ups. Thanks for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great International Scrapbook Day. Take care.